today we are going to find out the answer to the age-old question. Would you rather be stuck in the forest with a bear or a man? Oh, okay, that's the wrong argument. Okay, this one is silverback gorilla and grizzly bear. And as you know, a Homo sapien mammal, humanoid. Did we come from gorillas? I don't know. Back in the day, used to think gorillas was the worst things ever. I went to what's that place? Busch Gardens. And I watched the video on Animal Planet the day before of gorillas jumping another gorilla. And he was taking a 600-pound gorilla and picking mans up like these, dribbling him like a basketball. And that day I said, gorillas are the most vicious creatures on the planet, okay? Didn't go nowhere near the exhibit at Busch Gardens. But then I found out that the grizzly bear would send that thing to the gulag. Now, okay, look, I know the truth. Grizzly bear gonna win. He gotta win. And if he don't win, Tirzu, I'm gonna be pulling your car. Let's go.
The silverback gorilla and the grizzly bear. Two of the most fearsome builds in the game. Because they're not playable in the same servers, the question of which of these is more powerful, or specifically which one would win in 1v1 combat, is a common subject of debate on the game's forums. So today we're going to delve into the stats and abilities of both of these powerful builds, and determine which one would come out on top in
a freaking internet on 10-8
a deathmatch.
There we go.
Let's start with the gorilla. In my primate tier list video, I ranked the gorilla as S tier, and it was the only primate other than the human to get that top tier rank. And there's good reason for this. Just have a look at this thing's base stats. The gorilla is easily the most powerful of all the primates, with a power stat well beyond most mammal builds within its weight class. Its arms allow it to climb trees with ease, and keep in mind, they do this without investing in any of the perks which make climbing easier, like cling pads or hooked claws. No, gorillas do this on strength alone, and they still make it look easy. And so it should go without saying that those arms can also toss most other players around like a ragdoll, and can dish out some serious damage in a short flurry of blows. Gorillas also have massive canine teeth.
Yo, why are gorillas double cheeked up like that? Okay, is my internet being trash? Let's go. Let's try 720. Okay, we're gonna try that real quick. Oh my goodness, look at that man's teeth.
And although these are mostly for intimidation, they can act as an extra damage-dealing attack option if the situation calls for it. Mobility-wise, they move surprisingly quick given how short their back legs are. While not great at distance running, their burst movement potential is shockingly high. Defensively, gorillas don't have much to talk about. Their thick hide and bulky muscles offer some protection, but with only skin and fur covering their exterior, most attacks will be effective against them. Luckily, their large size gives them a pretty generous hit point pool, so they should be able to tank a decent amount of hits in a pinch. Stealth-wise, gorillas are above average. Their coloration works pretty well in dense forests, although not as well as true camouflage patterns would. Because they walk on their hands and feet rather than hooves, they can move much more quietly than most herbivores, although not quite as silently as builds with padded paws and retractable claws. And finally, intelligence-wise, gorillas are far above average. Their complex social structure requires significant investment to the intelligence skill tree in order to unlock it. And in doing so, gorillas also gained access to basic tool use and team tactics. The most common tool use tactic seen in gorillas is the use of sticks and rocks in order to more effectively dig out termites from their mounds. Next, let's switch over to the brown bear. In my bear tier list, I rated the brown bear at the low end of S tier.
The grizzly bear is a
Taking a look
brown
at its
bear,
stats, we can immediately see just how overpowered this thing is. Although not quite as powerful as the polar bear, it's still one of the strongest carnivorous mammal builds in the entire game. One of the few that is able to take down builds like the moose, bison, and elk solo.
That's crazy.
Its power stat is just crazy high, mostly due to the insane damage a bear can dish out using its claw swipe attack. It's not uncommon for a single swipe from a grizzly to one-hit most players, as it deals both blunt force damage and slashing damage in no small amount.
Bro, what do? You got a freaking bear? Bro, this is why I don't go to these type of places. And if I do, it's going to be freaking Gatlinburg where they got black bears, okay? The harmless ones. and I'm still not messing with them.
Unlike the gorilla, bears
You know, I went to Gatlinburg one time. I think I told this story. We check into our cabin. The people at the front gate, you know what they said to me? They said, don't feed the bears. And I went just like this. Not because I'm like, or, I'm like, do you see the color? Does it look like I'm going to be out here feeding bears, my boy?
also regularly use their teeth in combat, rather than just for intimidation. And in this aspect, they excel as well. Defensively, the brown bear is quite sturdy. It has thick, loose skin, similar to the honey badger, which allows it to absorb serious blows without taking too much damage to their vitals. And with an HP stat similar to the gorilla, even if their opponents do score a critical hit, it's unlikely to mean an immediate game over. Stealth-wise,
he head-topped him and he got up? Oh, no. There's no way, man.
Brown bears fare a little worse than the gorilla. Bears may not stick out that much visually, but they are some of the smelliest builds in the entire game, to the point where their odor often gives away their position long before they're detected via eyesight.
I didn't know that.
Luckily for the brown bear, its incredible movement speed and endurance can allow it to close the distance on fleeing players, even if they get a head start fleeing from the bear's scent. With a top speed roughly similar to a horse, very few builds can reliably escape a charging bear, especially given that bears can climb without issue as well. For those keeping track, this puts the bear's stats pretty much all either above or equal to the gorilla's with the exception of stealth. Of course, there's one stat we still haven't discussed yet, the bear's intelligence. When it comes to the gorilla versus grizzly debate, one thing that's often brought up is that the gorilla should be able to use its intelligence to easily outsmart the bear and gain a significant upper hand. Unfortunately for the gorilla, I vehemently disagree with this assessment. Not because gorillas aren't smart, but because bears are not dumb. A common quote you hear from
Yo, is my man pitching like
because gorillas
Nolan
aren't
Ryan?
smart, but because bears are not dumb. A common quote you hear from human park ranger builds is that there's a great deal of overlap between the intelligence of the smartest bears and the dumbest humans, to the point where designing an effective bear-proof storage container is often impossible because it will also keep out a good number of humans it was meant to be used by.
That's crazy.
Bears are the most intelligent of all carnivoran builds, smarter than cats, dogs, weasels, foxes, seals, and hyenas. Their giant brains are a necessity in order to memorize key points of interest across their vast territories.
Yo, I am unlocking new fears. You will not see me near a mountain, a tree, a pine cone, nothing, okay? Listen, we must get rid of the bears. Panthers ain't even over here. My man showed the gorillas in Africa, the bears in North America. That's where I'm at, okay? Listen, Trump, I know. I seen your clips. You said you're about to get rid of a lot of things, okay? Can we get rid of bears? That's my one thing, please.
For them to strategize how to
Just pull up in my backyard, I'm cooked.
access the best quality loot. This isn't to say the grizzly bear is going to invent some galaxy-brained gorilla trap on the spot or anything, but neither is the gorilla. Gorillas are incredibly intelligent builds for sure, but their intelligence manifests in their complex social dynamics and their tool use. In this scenario, it's 1v1, so the social dynamics is a non-factor. That just leaves their tool use, and in this regard, I think most players drastically overestimate the gorilla's abilities. Gorillas are not supreme bushcraft weaponsmiths. In fact, their use of weapons at all is almost non-existent in the gorilla player base. They will use rocks to more efficiently access insect larvae, but as for personal defense, the only strategy gorillas have access to is the intimidation-based technique of tossing debris in an adversary's general direction. When done in groups, this is extremely effective, and is often how a party of gorillas will ward off an approaching leopard in their natural ecosystem. But 1 versus 1 versus a bear, there is no way this would be enough to deter an attack. The bear's own high intelligence would give it a high chance to resist the intimidation effect, and once the bear has closed the distance, the bear is winning this fight at least 95% of the time.
Facts.
The gorilla would need not one, but several critical hits in a row to successfully take down a bear. Meanwhile, the bear would only need a few good bites and swipes before it's game over for the gorilla. So ultimately, that's how I think this matchup would go. Admittedly, I think it's a bit unfair to set up a scenario where the gorilla's most powerful ability is taken off the table, but the bear remains completely untouched. But that's the downside of investing in team tactics. If you ever find yourself caught off guard with no allies nearby, you might lose battles that you should otherwise at least have a fighting chance in. If you find this analysis unsatisfactory, we can approach it another way. which would be to take a look at their matchup spread and see if we can find any easy comparisons.
Okay.
While gorillas and bears never encounter each other in the wild and have no experience fighting each other, both the gorilla and the brown bear need to contend with big cats.
Okay.
While obviously not in North America, on other servers, brown bears actually sometimes share hunting territory with the tiger. This is the largest big cat build in existence, one which is powerful enough to, on rare occasion, take down rhinos and elephants solo. Matchups between bears and tigers tend to be pretty even. While there are recorded instances of tigers defeating bears and bears defeating tigers, generally these matchups tend to end in stalemates, where neither player is truly defeated.
Okay.
However, when we take a look at the gorilla's matchup spread against its most common big cat opponent, the leopard, we see that the gorillas actually tend to lose this matchup. Leopards are far less powerful than tigers, yet nonetheless, even a leopard can score kills on gorillas. I think this is more a function of the difference
Bro, I went to the Atlanta Zoo like a couple weeks ago. Bro, gorillas really be out here posing like they supposed to be flicking up. Okay? I don't know who told them they was Vogue models, but that's why the leopards be cooking.
The bear and gorilla's defensive stats than its offensive stats. Even with its above-average constitution stats, the gorilla's low defenses make it too much of a glass cannon, and in a massive slugfest fight like the subject of this video, the inability to absorb a lot of damage is an absolutely crippling disadvantage.
Ooh.
No joke, I get this question at least once a week. It's to the point where if someone DMs me saying, I have a question, I just answer, the bear wins. And like 50% of the time, that's all they need. Now you know why. Hopefully you see me as an unbiased and trustworthy source for these sorts of analyses. But trustworthy sources are hard to come by these days.
Hey man, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Hold up, do we got more left on here, or is this... Hold up, do we have more?
From all over the world and organized
Hold up, what other...
report on this story, with a center-left stat spread.
Okay, yeah, the rest of this is like Hold on, here we go. Let's see.
For sponsoring this video. So, what do you think? Any more animals that we should compare and contrast on this?
All right, what two animals do I want to see go head to head? I don't know, bruh. Like the bear versus gorilla, that's always a one. Crocodile versus a snake. I think I seen that. Like a snake swallowed a crocodile but busted open. You know what I'm saying? They showing the video, it was just bust everywhere, you know? But I don't know what animals I think will be like a fair 1v1 matchup. Cause you know, you got like Godzilla, which is some type of lizard, so I guess like an alligator. But like a bear gotta be cooking an alligator, right? It gotta be. I don't know. But listen, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff.
So when the metal hit his mug, he just sunk in place. 100K Holla, chill in Bahamas. Come home to your crib and throw in your mama.